Guys, let's introduce some players as we get to our second best of 5 of the night. The first series of the day going the distance. Let's see how the second series of the day is going to go. To the top left side from Against All Authorities, our French pros player, DnS. Qualifying through, I believe, qualifier number 3. No? Yes, qualifier number 3 he qualified through. And great to have him here with us in this tournament. No, great, kind of both these players, real up-and-comers in the European scene, both making their names for themselves in different sort of events. I mean, DnS has made it to Challenger League a couple of times now, had a little bit of drama with the Marine Lord fiasco this year, but, you know, he's good. He's top 16 GM, you know, he's one of these players who, in the future, is really going to be competing and continuing to compete with all of these other great players at the WCS Championships. And the same for Reynor to the bottom right-hand side, very young, can't play in the WCS circuit yet, although at DreamHack Valencia, he did place in the round of 8, didn't gain any WCS points because he's not eligible to because of his age. He is the Blue Zerg player True Esports, Reynor to the bottom right side of the map. Setting up into this ZvP, game number 1 of our second best of 5 tonight again. Reynor and DnS. The loser of this will play Violet in our next series. The winner will play Hellraiser in the series after that. We have 5 best of 5s for you in total tonight. We're 1 down, 4 to go. So plenty of action still to come as we're just setting up and getting ready. So I'm going to see a few Zerglings currently on the way out from Reynor. A few Zerglings coming in here actually very early on. He actually opened with a early kind of pool first build with a gas behind it as well. So pool gas opening out of Reynor, now taking his hatchery as well, finishing up his hatchery on the natural, and a couple of queens do start up. Was it just... No, it wasn't, his hatchery just finished, right? So it is pool hatch. Sorry, the timings are just sort of confusing me a little bit right now. Anyways, you're going to see these Zerglings from Reynor, they're going to start heading up towards the upper left-hand side. So these Zerglings are going to be gathering together, actually hiding a little bit, waiting for the first 2 adepts to pass through. This is pretty clever. Obviously, with 2 adepts passing by, then you can either come in and surround them, or you can kind of go and counterattack, whichever feels will do the most damage. It looks as though he'll be going to counterattack here. So he's got 8 more lings coming up to help defend these first 2 adepts, as it has been, again, that double gateway opening early in the game from DnS, just to try and get some early damage done. It's going to be seeing those 2 adepts right now. Well, they get a couple of drone kills, getting pushed away as the shields go down on them. So they're getting pushed away, a couple more starting to come down towards that bottom right-hand side. A few Zerglings from Reynor going to be running in over to the left as well, and they actually are going to get in towards the base here. And what's he going to go for? The pylon? He's going to try for it. I mean, full surround, so it goes pretty quickly. Immediately, Corona Boost gets swapped onto the adepts there, and the adepts will come out before the pylon goes down, but it will still slow down his warp gate research, future adept production. And so it's still going to turn out quite nicely. The 4 adepts on the map already from DnS are going to turn away. And actually DnS in this game, it's interesting to see where he kind of wants to head towards. He loses a couple of probes already. Now a 3rd probe going to go down as well. A 4th probe. Wow, Reynor's really getting so much done with these. As we see if finally the adept will finish cleaning up. No. 5 workers killed in total. Alright, and now the Stargate comes down. So obviously going to have a lot of adepts on the ground. The Stargate on the way. I wonder if we see double Stargate action a little bit later on. It'll obviously, I think, be Phoenix here initially. It's interesting. I think he doesn't feel as though he's safe to take a 3rd base now. It's weird. With the 2-gate opening, you don't usually see a Twilight Council follow up because you just have so many adepts anyway. You don't usually wait for kind of players to finish or anything. You just kind of tech up elsewhere and use the adepts that you're producing on top of the adepts, like, you know, on top of the kind of tech which you're going into as well. So it's an interesting setup here. Reynor will be fairly late on the 3rd hatchery though. He's actually got a lot of Zerglings currently sat over to the right-hand side. Obviously, the lateness of the 3rd hatch sort of comes down to the fact here that he opened in such a way that was, you know, very kind of defensive against those couple of adepts early. You can see a Beta Nest and still more Zerglings being made, so Reynor cutting the drone production. I mean, either he's preparing for his very big adept attack, or he's just going to go and get aggressive himself. I mean, maybe a bit of both, to some extent. He's going to make another drone now, so he doesn't look as though he's just going to be completely aggressive himself. He's just preparing to make sure he's going to have enough to defend against this incoming wave of adepts. We've seen the adepts here just do a little bit more damage onto a few of those Zerglings. We're going to see the Oracle is going to be popping out and heading down towards the bottom right-hand side. So Oracle of DnS is going to pop and head to the bottom right. We're going to see the Zerglings will run on in here. I'm just going to be forcing the cancel on the 3rd Nexus almost immediately. So DnS losing his 3rd Nexus pretty much straight away. Continue to shade some adepts down towards this bottom right side. We're going to be seeing the adepts actually going to end up cancelling now, as we'll see. Well, Oracle will have a little bit of a look at the 3rd base. Not Phoenix play. I really did think it was going to be Phoenix play, but it's the more common way to play when you're going for adepts and into Stargate. But Oracle's sort of work as well. You see these Zerglings again trying to delay the third base by, well, killing off the probe, killing off a couple of Adepts out here to protect it as well. And just being annoying. However, now the Adepts will actually come in and fight, and they'll clean up a few of those Zerglings. So not many left over, and that should be the last we see of those Zerglings denying the third. So DnS should be able to get into this now, eventually. I mean, it's taking him a while, but he's getting there. There's Oracle around the map looking to see what's going on. You all kind of remember that at this point DnS is not in too bad a spot, because for all the kind of delays he's had in the game up until now, there's still the fact that his opponent is in this situation where he's kind of making a lot of lings to be able to make these denials happen. And I see the lings coming in again. This time the Adepts are in position, maybe can't get rid of the lings fast enough, so the Nexus will be cancelled again. And now the Adepts will sit in an even more aggressive position, really hoping to just kind of keep on defending against this. The lings come in, he actually pulls back to the Adepts once more. I mean, Overcharge now coming in and ready to go as the pylons finish, so he should be able to hold on to this now. A couple of sentries as well. And finally, DnS will start to head in towards his third Nexus. Thank you very much, Super Duper Niels, for the 5-month resub. Can we get some love in the chat, please? Thank you very much for joining us for yet another month here. Do appreciate it, as we're going to be having a couple of Oracles currently heading to the south side from DnS. So again, just looking to try and get damage done. But Reynor's been deflecting all of this damage very well so far. Now finally, 3 workers going down. Gonna maybe look for a 4th, but has to be so careful for those queens there. Adepts lined up against this Nexus to make sure it's not going to go down again. He cannot afford the third Nexus to continually be denied, as it has been done up until now. So he needs to stop that from happening even further. As the Robo will finish, we'll see an Immortal on the way out immediately. The Forge is going to be finishing as well, and we'll see the +1 attack will start up too. So +1 attack going to be coming on in. So +1 attack starting up now and just setting up into this. As we'll see a few Zerglings, they're going to run down to the bottom side through the right. And, well, just coming back home. Not sure what exactly they're hoping to do. Just pulling them back down into this position. Oracle going to back away from this natural expansion. As we'll see, the Zerglings will head across the map again. Still not much they'll find on the third base. As we'll see the Twilight Council coming in very late here from DnS. Again, obviously everything sort of delayed in this game from the damage he's been taking, and sort of from both players to some extent as well. So Twilight Council coming in. We'll be finishing up in a moment or two. And we'll see the Warp Prism about halfway done. So looking to get very aggressive. He obviously has a lot of Adepts, a few sentries as well. And so you can get very aggressive with this gateway-based army, as these Zerglings from Reynor will come down the right-hand side. So he'll come down the right-hand side, and again, look to see what else can happen in this game. Warp Prism does pop, and well, here we go. A couple more gates, a few more gates actually being added on over here. So a bunch of extra gateways walling off this right-hand side completely. What's going to load up here? Just 2 Adepts. Okay, I thought he would go across the map with his whole army, which is maybe a little bit risky at this point, but I felt as though he could have done it with the sentries to sort of defend with. Cancels one of those pylons, will just fill the gap with Adepts perhaps, or I'm not too sure. Maybe just wants to make sure he can actually get towards his 4th base, which is something you have to keep in mind throughout this as well. Something you will want to head into. The 4th base actually even starting right now. A couple of Hallucinate Phoenix going to be looking to scout as the Warp Prism comes down the left side. Currently unscouted by the Zerg. Doesn't know about that Warp Prism just yet, as Zerglings ready to counterattack almost immediately here, coming in towards this top right side, but a few Adepts in position. A few more Banelings actually going to morph in, as we see Spire play being added in, or being created as well. So Spire on the way up. Adepts continue, Zerglings continue to see what's going to be going on. Ling's going to run in, look to surround. Overcharge comes down. DnS still gathering units together right now. 2 Lings and 3 Banelings currently just loaded up and ready to go. Zerglings going to back away down the right-hand side. 9 more Ravagers currently morphing in from Reynor, and 36 more Zerglings as well. Stargate starts up here, and we'll be seeing Baneling Nest will be finishing very soon. So Baneling Nest will be finishing the centrifugal hooks. So Banespeed coming in, and this Ling Ravager Baneling composition is getting set to attack, and that's what it does best, of course. It's a composition that wants to attack and keep on attacking. The idea is, the more, it's not very good against a later game Protoss army. And so you want to keep on resetting the tech count, you want to keep on resetting the Archon count, the Immortal count, and whatever else in. There's a couple of vials already starting to go down here at the front. We see this gateway is going to start taking some damage. Not even any Balins in this army just yet. Some more battles coming down, and, well, we might just see kind of a Ling Ravager attack. Some Lings stream on through into the natural. Reynor will begin to disengage. The Force Field comes down, which actually sort of hurts him from coming in here to defend this. 10 workers already going down, as at the third base. A couple of Balins did roll on through. 14 workers killed in total right now, and a few more still going down in the main as well. So lots of damage being done all over the place. The Zealots cleaning up a few more of these Zerglings, I'm just going to be seeing the Queens continue to fight against another Adept or two around the map as well. So Adept harassment not doing a lot. The Warp Prison's been shut down. And now Banelin's coming in as well as Reynor, really looking good in game number 1 of this best of 5 series. Looking very good indeed, and will probably be going to attack once again. This time with some Banelins in tow. He's actually added on a few Mutalisks as well. The one thing I don't like from Reynor so far is that he actually hasn't traded just yet, you know? He hasn't kind of reset any of the units. He's done good harassment. He's killed off some workers. This army of DNS is getting stronger and stronger. The Archon count is still very good. You know, he still has what he had, he's getting actually a better and better army to fight against what Reynor is attacking with, and maybe sheer numbers will be okay for Reynor as Banelins connect in towards the 4th base. Overcharge pops, another 10 workers go down. Maybe sheer numbers from DNS will be okay here, will be enough, but, well, let's see, the Banelins can actually bust through the front, and, well, the Zerglings are going to be very committed moving into that position there now. No force field on that ramp this time, as immediately the Ravagers, they're going to back away, but look how many of these Zerglings are going to go down. Again, if he hit a force field on this ramp, that would have been huge to stop so many more of those Zerglings from getting up there. He would have been able to trap so many. As actually, look at this big split of the army from DNS. He's going to catch a lot of the Ravagers. Some Phoenix he made are actually going to come in, lift up a few of the Ravagers as well, stop them from retreating. Main base Nexus goes down, and another 31 workers has fallen too. But DNS has all the potential right now in the world to move forward and go for a big counterattack. A few more Bane's going to morph in. Obviously, if he counterattacks, it will be on creep, which can help Reynor. And maybe that's just why he decides not to. Temple Archive's going to rebuild now. That went down in the main base to those Zerglings during that last attack here. So that went down. Going to be seeing Phoenix just joined up in the skies. Getting set, ready to go. And we're going to see another attack up the right-hand side. Reynor looking to see what's going on and what if he can do towards this 4th base. So some Zerglings going to be running up here. A few Phoenix going to grab the Mutas. That's probably why he made the Phoenix, actually, because he saw the Spire and was anticipating Mutalisks. So a few Phoenix will shut those down as they were intended to. But again, the Phoenix were very useful earlier as well, picking up those Ravagers. So they've not been, they've actually been very useful, to be fair. As we'll see, DNS's army will just gather together. Still low on workers, 35 to 71. So his worker count not great, could definitely rebuild, but I feel as though he's just looking to build up army and go. Although the longer he waits for, the better position Reynor gets into. Reynor with a lot of money in the bank to spend, as he is maxed out, so his reproduction will be pretty darn fast and pretty darn huge as well. And actually, Reynor's the one who's setting up aggressively again. A few Lingbane to the right-hand side, but mostly the Ravager Lingbane over to the left here. Not even that many Zerglings in this. About 8 or so. There's the rest of them coming in. So here we go. A few Bane's going to lead the charge. They're going to look to take down that cannon. They get it killed. And the rest of the Zerglings will stream on in now as well. Try and push in towards the front. Big Bane connections to begin. DNS losing quite a lot there initially. Still so many Archons as the Zerglings. They do their job to the right-hand side. They kill off the pylon. And that means no overcharge, it means no warping. And DNS realizes now that he just has to move forward. So he can't mess around. He has to go for this. Burst Bowers will actually kill off the Ravagers that were lifted, more so than the Protoss army, as we'll see another overcharge or two coming in over here. Just trying to deflect those Zerglings as we have one last-ditch push from DNS. 72 Zerglings in production. 36 more Balins being made. And here we go. So many units right now from DNS going to get ready to come down towards this bottom right side. Balins will be rolling on in here very soon as well. The Archons are going to be fighting forwards. The Lanes, the Banes going to be moving in. We're going to see a couple of forces coming down. The Balins coming in from the back. A lot of damage being done, sort of, but not really. Actually, the Archons soaking up so much of the damage as they're still here and they're still pushing through. And this is the thing. DNS's army was always going to be scary against this composition if, you know, if Reynor wasn't getting rid of a lot of it early on, and that never happened, you know. This was always kind of just this composition, and the Archons never got reset. He has a lot of Immortals still, and now all of a sudden DNS is the one doing the damage. He's in the mineral line, 64 army supply to 30. Zerglings will be streaming out all over the place. It'll be hard to really get them together to fight, and oh man, Reynor, is he in trouble here at this counterattack? I really do think so, as DNS on 2 bases left over, on only 35 workers, but he's just going to have enough. He's going to break down this 3rd base, and he is going to be able to push on through this. We're going to see this high threat actually still taking some damage. The Transfusers keeping it alive a bit longer. He has some Zerglings in the front coming in to get something more done, but drones are falling, and Reynor types out GG after so much damage done. One of those situations where, again, that composition of Reynor just doesn't trade well against DNS's army later in the game. It works well because it's swarmy. There's loads of units. They swarm on in super high numbers, super early on. And that's where it kind of really gets its power. And so it's kind of just designed to kind of catch the Protoss player off guard. If the Protoss player can defend and not take damage on his army, again, it comes down to that army. The army's just so good at dealing with it. I feel as though I've made the point But we got a really good example of, again, just how that army can be super good there. So, guys, let's go into game 2. To the bottom left-hand side, it'll be our yellow Protoss player from Against All Authority. It is DnS. And he is going up against the red Zerg. To the bottom right-hand side from True Esports, it is Reynor. If DnS wins this series, he'll set himself up for the PvP with Hellraiser in the winner bracket match. Of course, obviously, this is a huge kind of opportunity for both DnS and Reynor now, because they have to fancy themselves against Hellraiser. Yeah, sure, he just took down Violet, but I still think they'll both fancy themselves to win that series and to be able to kind of advance through quite easily, quite handily. So we'll see how this goes, guys. We do see a hatch gas pool opening out of Reynor here in game number 2. Last game, he did open with that kind of weird sort of timing, sort of caught me a little bit off guard. I was a little bit confused, a little bit perplexed as to what was happening, as we're going to be seeing here. Good luck, have fun being called. And DnS just expanded himself, very standard. No Nexus first, no double gateway or anything. Sorry, it is a Nexus first. He goes Nexus first and follows up with double gateway. So, going to apply a little bit of pressure for depth through this bottom side pathway. Can be very powerful in the early stages of the game. So, again, we'll see if DnS can get some good damage done early and put himself into a nice quick lead here on New Gettysburg. Single probe coming across the map. Obviously mostly to scout here, but we'll have a nibble at a few of these drones. So drone's taking a little bit of damage, and probe will actually just have to pull away there. So probe pulls back. See a couple of queens currently being built out of these hatcheries. So a couple of queens currently being built. And Overlord from Reynor just going to sit overhead on the natural expansion. He obviously now identifies the Nexus first into double gate, and so he'll know when he has to make units. He'll know to make Zerglings to defend against this. And I'm sure that will be coming up for him in the very near future. So him setting up him here himself. And a couple of Zerglings already moving around the top side of the map. It'll be interesting to see what they can get up to. Actually a Stalker Adept here early on from DnS. That's a little bit different. I wonder what that actually leads us into here in the early stages of the game. Alright, so Stalker Adept about to pop out. We'll see a Twilight Council coming up here as well in the natural expansion. So Twilight Council going to be added on. Resonating Glaives is obviously an opening which is very powerful, especially on this map. Moving through the bottom side can be pretty quick, although sometimes can be shut down pretty swiftly by like a hatchery or something blocking off in this location. If you get the creep out, then an Evo chamber would do it. So you can shut it down pretty hard, so it'll be interesting to see sort of what exactly the opening will be here. You can see that Twilight Council is going to be finishing up, and there's that Resonating Glaives. Going to be chrono boosting out, so Glaives opening here, something which Reynor has a pretty good read on though, having been up the ramp with the Zerglings. He's seen that Twilight Council, he has a very good idea as to what is happening here in the early stages. Gateway down to the left hand side from DnS. As you see, probes still being chrono boosted out of the Nexus. Going to see the Rotoron on the way from Reynor as well back at home. So Rotoron being added on, and a third hatchery is going to be finishing up very shortly as well. So from both players, it's kind of very standard build orders. Build orders we see a lot of the time, so no real shockers just yet in this second game on New Gettysburg. As DnS has all the power in his hands, 1-0 up. If he can win this, I mean, he goes to a 2-0 advantage, and all of a sudden Reynor will be in a lot of trouble. Will have to come back 3 games in a row. Something he did do in the qualifiers against BCQD, something we saw Hellraiser do today, something Marine Lord did a couple of days ago in his group as well. But it's still not going to be easy. Of course, there is a second chance for both these players still. This is their first match, and it's a dual tournament format group, so it's like a double elimination bracket of 4 players. And again, after this series, we're going to the losers match to begin with, followed by the winners match, followed by the decider match of the day. Nexus will go down here. Pylon going to come down next to it as well, and there's the double Stargate follow-up. Although double Stargate and not taking the expansion on the island is an interesting one. So send him into double Stargate. So Adept Phoenix going to be continued Adept production for quite a while here for DnS. He'll come into a lot of Phoenix, and again, he'll be aggressive with Adepts and Phoenix for the most part. It works well. It's a good synergy of units, because what happens is the Adepts are generally quite good against a lot of units on the ground, especially when they're in overwhelming numbers. And what the Phoenix do is they help to lift up those units of the Zerg player and take away the important units to help defend. And that kind of course, helps to favor the Adepts on the ground, and the Adepts sort of overwhelm, even when usually you think there'd be enough. A few Ravagers going to start morphing in here from Reynor. We'll see a few Zerglings will head around the top side, and the Adept's going to shade through again. This time not many units in position, and DnS might commit to it this time. Okay, there's the Zerglings coming back. He sees those, and he'll cancel the warp in or the shade in once again here. Phoenix are going to start gathering together, and very shortly they'll be out on the map to try and get some damage done already. Two of them start to spread out, going on that initial Overlord hunt. We see Lings around the top side. They're going to head in towards the third hatchery, although Pylon's in position. Plenty of adepts here as well. I don't think there's going to be much that those Zerglings can do at all. So immediately Reynor turned away, and right from the get-go, DnS is obviously just off to a much safer start than he was back on Frozen Temple. On Frozen Temple, he was all over the place. He was losing his third hat nexus a couple of times. He was trying to harass but getting shut down. He got some Lings doing damage. Just in general, everything was going really, really well for Reynor at the start of Frozen Temple. Of course, in the end, he just overcommitted that Lingbane Ravager composition and didn't really have anything to then trade against the army of his opponent with in the end. So, you see these Phoenix coming in. You're going to be seeing them lifting a few drones. 4 workers killed already. And obviously, that's one of the benefits going into lots of Phoenix. The harassment they can provide is some of the best in the game. See that resources lost tab already 700 to 0 in favor of DnS, and of course you expect that to rise with a double Stargate play. You probably expect that to reach at least 1.5k to 2k on a very good day. I guess on a good day, maybe on a good defense by the Zerg play, it should stop at around the 1000ish mark. So we'll see how well DnS or Reynor, I guess, can defend against this. We'll see how well DnS can kind of locate openings, look for gaps in his opponent's defense. Some Ravagers here now make it awkward to pick up any of these units nearby because a stationary Phoenix is an easy target for Corrosive Bile, so he has to be a little bit cautious of those as Reynor continues to run around with the Zerglings at the moment. So continue to run around with the Zerglings. We're going to see these Phoenix here be under fire from those Queens. Queens doing a little bit of damage onto those and just pushing them back just a little bit. The 4th hatchery coming in from Reynor as well now, so 4th hatchery will finish up, and again those Zerglings from Reynor are looking around to see what's going on. 3 Void Rays being made. DnS going into Sky Toss, but again, looking to hold the 3rd expansion and then probably move in towards the islands as his 4th base, etc. Which is a bit of a different way to doing it. I mean, it's still a very good map to kind of defend on in general anyways. So, you know, it's not kind of a bad idea. He might even not take the island bases for a while. But it's just a little bit of a different way of doing things from what we saw already earlier today. As now up to 1.3k loss to the 250. You can start to see DnS getting the damage done that we expect him to with those Phoenix. Again, there's just no real sort of, there's a way to slow these Phoenix down, with Queens and Spores you can push them away, but there's no way to kind of just completely deny the damage being done. As we see, actually these probes coming over very early. He does take this island base now as his 4th expansion. Starts to set up into that, plenty of voids continue to come up in the sky, a fleet beacon begins, and we'll probably see something very similar to what Hellraiser did against Violet, where he goes up to 6 to 9 Void Rays, and then starts to transition into the carriers, and into that real Sky Toss army. This is the go-to build order right now in New Gettysburg for Protoss players, and it's up to the Zerg to find a way to shut it down. Obviously, Violet couldn't find a way to shut it down when he played Hellraiser. Let's see if Reynor has some better answers. Queens continue to join together. I would like to remind you, in the SGL the other day, actually, it was Reynor who was able to defend against Harstom's build on this map. Although it was looking very good for Harstom, he just overextended, I think, at some point, and kind of lost out from there. As we're going to be seeing these Zerglings moving forward, the Adepts will come in and trade a little bit onto those Zerglings. Void Rays coming out the front, and another Zergling down here getting taken down as well. Phoenix still joining together, 3 more Void Rays going to be popping out and joining up very shortly as well. And if that fleet beacon finished, the carrier production will begin. This build has again become so popular lately. Probably a reason we see a lot of players starting to veto Gettysburg in the ZvP matchup. Can't remember what the vetoes were this time around. I think it was Apotheosis and Dasan Station. Dasan always a pretty frustrating map to play on for any race, even if your race is sort of favoured, it can be a frustrating one to play on, as we're going to be seeing these Adepts in the Warp Prism. Get me coming through the bottom side. So Warp Prism, just looking to see what's going on. We see a little bit of a fight here. Lings kind of commit in. A few bins to the middle line, but not really any damage done. Good defense again out of DnS. This is the exact sort of stuff he wants to keep on doing, just staying out of trouble, not letting his opponent do damage while building up himself. And I mean, he's about to be maxed out on a Sky Toss army. I mean, he's in a prime position to start attacking and start trading. I mean, there's absolutely nothing really from Reynor to defend a Sky Toss army. There's 17 Queens, which is, I mean, that's something, sure, but 17 Queens against 9 Voids, 3 Carriers. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be enough. The Phoenix here as well, I mean, even kind of like, what, 5, 9 Phoenix? That's already half the Queens lifted at the start of a fight. As we'll see those Phoenix just going to back away. And a few Adepts going to go in towards the main base. Just to start harassing, so damage being done around the place. Going to jump into a mineral line. At this point, not really too important to keep those Adepts alive because he wants to max out on probably more carriers, etc. Even the Phoenix at this point are somewhat sort of units you don't really need anymore. Reynor, has he got a hive up is my question now. No, he doesn't. Still on lair tech, going into infestors. I mean, he's obviously looking to get very aggressive. He can grab the fungal growth and land the corrosive biles on top of the army. Well, that would be fantastic, but I'm not sure if that's really going to be something that's going to happen here, Reynor. Trying to get rid of a lot of Ravagers and Banes. I just don't see him actually kind of getting the fight he wants against this. There's so many cannons, there's going to be carriers, there's a mothership, there's plenty of Void Rays as well. The Phoenix will still come into account even if he is losing a few of them around the map. 7 of them still remain. Can even just come in, lift up the Infestors could be a great way to kind of do this. Lift up the Infestors all of a sudden, then what does Reynor have to try and make this work? There's the Phoenix right now, they do see the Infestors, so DnS knows they're there. And I'm sure he'll be planning his attack very, very shortly. We're going to see Ravagers, Lingers, Banes, all collecting together right now, again, looking for a way in very, very soon. Infestors at the back, that's exactly what them Phoenix want to go in for. If they grab some of those Infestors, stop the fungal growths, etc., or the Infested Terrans, could be very good indeed. Here we go. Balins will be used to bust down the initial cannons. I am almost certain of it as Phoenix baiting out a fungal there, actually. That's a nice little fungal baited already. It'll shut down a single Baneling as another fungal gets baited out just for one Phoenix kill. I mean, that's fantastic as we see. Here we go. Starting to push forwards. Infested Terrans will come down. The Bales will begin to crash in as well. And, well, the Interceptors start to move. The thing is, there just isn't really, I don't think, the anti-air to fight against these Interceptors, these carriers. And Reynor's army, you can already see his supply plummeting quite dramatically. You see, actually, DnS going to pull back and play very safely as he already has one expansion up, the other one on the way. Although a little bit of a Ling run by will do quite a lot here. This will force a warp in of Reynor to kind of force a warp in of DnS to defend against this. A single Adept comes in, but it's not enough just yet. Space to the right side, nothing there just yet either. Phoenix will come in, they'll shut down the Overlord, but still needing a few more units to defend against this. And there they are, the Adepts finally warping in. 13 workers killed though, nice little counter-attack, and Reynor distracting his opponent here slightly. Now Aspire on the way up. He still hasn't kind of committed to a major fight, but nor has DnS. He's waiting for another couple of voids that he's going to be maxed out once again. And this time, is he going to be the aggressor? It's difficult. Every time he moves out, it's a fairly slow-moving army. As we're going to be seeing the Lingers and a couple of Banes running towards the third base. Plenty of cannons here as well. Obviously, with the gas-heavy composition DnS is playing with, the mineral dump of the cannons can be somewhat of a relief to actually spend your minerals and get use out of the minerals. I wouldn't mind seeing a few cannons over here, just where we saw that attack coming in earlier, just to stop future attacks like that one. Few Adepts already set up, ready to go forwards again. And Zerglin's not going to do much at all. Maybe even Reynor to some extent now, kind of cleaning out supply to get more Ravagers, more anti-air units into the game. Because those Zerglings really aren't doing anything at all. So, here we go. Queens, Ravagers, a few Infestors joining on up. You'll see these Phoenix getting rid of an Overlord in the skies. And again, looking around to see what's happening. A few more probes going to drop off over towards this island base. So, an expansion going to unload a few workers. A few Phoenix across the map. Still a few Adepts will go into this third hatchery of Reynor. As you can see here, DnS is going to start getting some good damage done. A few workers going down. The Phoenix are around as well. They're going to come in. They might grab themselves a Ravager. Well, that Ravager there is definitely out on its own, so that will go down if the Phoenix realize. There we go. Realizing that there's someone who's currently carrying their team. Infestor's going to round a fungal growth though, and that fungal growth will probably mean the end of the Phoenix. And again, I don't know if that's really a bad thing here for DnS, because these Phoenix at this point in the game, they're sort of just not really doing anything anymore. So the last one goes down, so they're not really doing anything. You can just use them, they use that supply kind of advantage now from losing the Phoenix for more carriers. He's even going to add in some Tempest, so going to go for those ranged units now to fight against this. Units gathering together here currently, as we're going to be seeing a couple more Adepts going to warp in. There's a couple more Adepts warping in right now, as we're going to see again a few Balins just to the upper left hand side. Fifth base. All of DnS is obviously setting up down here as well. A couple cannons to protect from those run-bys we saw, or drops we saw earlier. I mean, maybe some larger drops, like 3 or 4 Overlords of Ravagers, etc. might be the best way to go. Then the cannons won't kind of mean anything at all. And that's why I think it's best to actually deny this sort of base by kind of bringing in kind of like cannons to the side. You know, like we saw Hellraiser doing. I do prefer that a little bit more. And actually, look at this. Some Corruptors coming in. And they're getting close to spray down this Nexus. There's actually no way to defend this. without cannons being up over here as well. And that's another reason why just spamming cannons on this base can be very, very good, as we'll see. Warprism is going into a minefield or a meteor cloud right there. Has to avoid all those corrosive bars to make sure it doesn't go down. Warprism still heading over to the right-hand side here. One single corruptor caustic spraying in this 4th base currently. But look at this, the Protoss army is beginning to move out. He's got a huge amount of money in the bank. This base is not going to stand a chance as the Warprism comes to the far right-hand side. I'm just intrigued by the number of Ravagers that Reynor's invested into. He has 26 Ravagers, 16 Queens, and 2 Infestors. 6 Corruptors aren't going to do much either. I mean, it's so little kind of solid anti-air. He's really reliant on kind of 2 fungal growths to really connect. As we're going to see the Corruptors here taking a little bit of damage, getting pushed away, and that means they're not actually on the right side of the map to defend either right now. Again, those Ravagers, obviously these are slow-moving units, so to some extent the Ravagers can be very useful. Single Oracle to Revelate on this army would be fantastic, of course, as well. If you could Revelate on top of these Ravagers, then you'd be able to see so much. And you'd be able to really use those Tempests to their fullest ability. 3 workers going down towards the 4th base as well, a couple of Battles, and the Ravagers in general will clean those out. As we see the attack actually from this Sky Army. Starting moving towards the main, getting a little bit of damage done, then backing off. Hive is about to finish up here from Reynor. That's when he gets access to those Vipers, and I feel as though the Vipers are something which really could change the way this game is going. Some Abducts, some Parasitic Bombs, can change so much in this. Here we go, Infestors are going to get taken down instantly. Well, I mean, immediately we see just DnS dodging away from the first set of Biles, and the Interceptors are doing a lot. They're kind of killing off a whole bunch of stuff right here. At the same time, 12 workers killed. Look at this, there's just a field of Interceptors right now. And more Interceptors currently building out the carriers again. Obviously that costs minerals. Because DnS is, well, not having to build anything though. He's not going to have to rebuild anything, not just yet. He's still looking to keep on attacking. The Vipers are on their way, but they still have to get energy before they can do anything too useful. That Viper is going to go down pretty swiftly as well, so now down to only 3 more Corruptors being built. I just don't really see. Reynor is down to actually 35 workers, so he has as big an army as he's really going to get. 165 army supply to 135. I just don't see a way he fights against this Sky Toss army. Queen's going to be looking to try and come forward. Tempest is on to fire. Here we go. Queens will be under attack now, and they're just dropping so quickly. Even Reynor can't get the transfuses on them fast enough. Queen after Queen going down, and DnS looking very good now in game 2 as he pushes on forwards. The Vipers to the top right side. They know that on their own it's just not going to be enough. Here we go. Overseer's running in. The Corruptors too. The Corrosive Bars will try to drop, but it's still not enough just yet as DnS holds strong. He rebuilds carriers back at home. He's got so many Stargates up to work with. You see the Corruptor count is just not going to be enough at all. I don't even know if we really saw anything happening with the Vipers there. Didn't see any Abducts. Don't see any Parasitic Bombs on the army of DnS. And Reynor has been absolutely destroyed here in game number 2. DnS is going to take a 2-0 lead. And he is looking very, very good in this series, especially in that second game, convincing 3,000 viewers again. We'll probably get there, actually, at this rate. Second series, 1.7k. I think we probably will get there. Guys, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to the stream. I'm Wardi, and of course, either welcome or welcome back, of course. Going into our 3rd game between DnS and Reynor in our 2nd match, our 2nd series of the day. DnS is our yellow Protoss player to the bottom right side from Against All Authority, leading this series 2-0. And to the top left, our red Zerg player from True Esports. It is Reynor. It's kind of funny. Obviously, we take like a break after every couple of games, and what happened was like I invited the players in the lobby, and they were like, "Go, go!" And then DnS said, "Actually, probably not. There's probably going to be an ad break." I was like, "Oh wow, O Gaming have taught you well," because I know O Gaming like to run ads kind of after every 2 games or so. And he was like, "No, no, it's because I'm watching your stream a lot." So DnS, a fan of the stream, will be well glad to hear. Said he might subscribe. I need to tell him about the Wardi blessing, the Wardi blessing, where Wardi subscribers won like every sick tournament lately. You know, Snoot won NSL, Euphemal won IEM, True won WCS, so that doesn't quite work. But before True won WCS, it was the Wardi blessing was definitely a real thing. Nurture winning DreamHack Valencia. Worked out, man. It's worked out. Wardi subs are like 4-0 in finals 5-0 in finals this year, I think, or something. I guess Snoot against Pult lost, but Harston as well. You know, guys, the Wardi blessing is a real thing. Subscribe today to instantly climb 2 leagues in StarCraft 2. guaranteed or your money back. Okay, don't quote me on that. That wasn't serious, guys. I don't want to suddenly start getting like sued or something for guaranteeing people free kind of promotions in StarCraft because they subscribe. You took my $5 and I'm still in platinum. How dare you? I can imagine it. Anyways, we set up into this, guys. Zergling's speed is coming up here from Reynor towards the upper left side. Then we've seen a probe pulling back and a few Zerglings starting to move out onto the map. So 4 Zerglings moving down towards the bottom right hand side here from Reynor. Twilight Council starts up from DnS and just looking for a probably a Resonating Glaive space opening. Although he makes a Zealot early, probably just to help him defend against these initial Zerglings, although Stalker is going to turn them away and he's going to get some more damage onto this Overlord as well. Overlord gets up to this high ground though, and unless he brings the Zealot out or something to get high ground vision, then that Overlord should be pretty safe over here. So Overlord going to be safe for now. As we see Balin Nest coming in very early in the game from Reynor, right then. Well, this is him definitely looking to change things up, I think. I mean, a Balin Nest at 3 minutes is in no way, shape, or form going to be defensive, right? Surely not. Surely not. I mean, he is going to Pneumatize Carapace, and he is adding an Evo Chamber, so maybe this is going to be for macro and just to defend with, but it just feels so much earlier than he ever needs it. Dark Shrine coming in from DnS, so he is going to change things up, obviously with a Zealot and a Stalker coming out early, to then go Twilight Council is actually somewhat kind of interesting, I guess. Might just be for Balin drop super early in the game, I guess, from Reynor, and that could be a way to kind of get something done as well at this point. We're going to be seeing those few Lingers just going to join up towards the top side, and we're going to see that Overlord going to start morphing in, but the Balin's not morphing in just yet. There we go, okay, so it is indeed going to be a Balin drop. Dark Shrine, though, well, there's one Spore Crawler starting to build from Reynor. Down 2 games in this series, he cannot afford to take damage from anything, really. He can't afford to fall behind, he can't afford to be caught off guard by a DT play. So he's adding one Spore Crawler, and it's actually in the natural, which is kind of more or less kind of actually an anti-Stargate Spore Crawler, because you expect the Spore Crawler to come in towards the natural expansion, these Oracles come into the natural expansion with a Stargate opening. So we're going to back away a little bit here, and the Zerglings again looking to see what's going on, looking to see what's happening. 2 more gateways being added as we see the Warp Prism popping out of the robot facility. 2 more DTs being warped in. So 2 DTs warping in the natural. They'll get lifted up by the Warp Prism, I imagine. And hide that Warp Prism for now as more Lingers come across the map. Here we go. Balin drop into the mineral line. DnS will lose 7, 8, 9 workers. As we see the Warp Prism starting to head across. However, did Reynor see the DTs? I don't know if he did. And right now his third hatchery is Spore Crawlerless. His main base is Spore Crawlerless. That is a major issue here because 2 DTs on each of these bases is more or less game ending. He's actually currently heading in towards the natural. Well, you know what? There is one way in which Reynor can actually get rid of DTs without Spore Crawlers, without detection. That is if he's to go in and if he is to kind of go for kind of a Balin's and he uses manual detonation. 7 workers killed here in the natural. And we're going to see DnS backing away. So DnS back is off, but the rest of the spores are on the way up now. Reynor realizes what's going on. So the DTs don't quite turn out to be game ending. Another 8 probes going down to this Overlord drop. So this Overlord drops in a few Banes, doing a bit more damage. And let's see these couple of Stalkers just going to hit it behind that mineral line. The Zerglings from Reynor are still moving around the map. They come down to the south, don't see much. Some more Zerglings joining up now as well. 4 Banelings going to get ready to go. They're going to move towards the front and they're going to look to try and bust on through. We're going to see a couple of Archons are loaded up into this Warp Prism and they are set and ready to make things happen here. So a couple of Archons ready to go into this. I mean, the Archon drop is a very powerful follow-up as we see a little bit of a Balin bust here, essentially, from our Zerg player. So he's actually going to run by with a bunch of Zerglings. He's going to grab himself an Immortal kill to begin with. Extra gates will help to warp in some... well, DT is actually a good way to kind of defend this initially. He's going to take a lot of damage. The Archons right now dropping off, but he's actually going to have to come in and save these momentarily. One of them getting very low. DnS, he does come in and pick it up on what, like 2 shields left or something? Man, these Queens are still taking damage as well. Good stuff by DnS. He's still doing good damage across the map despite these Zerglings being a nuisance in his main base. Probes for him will now start to go down as he just sits to the side of the Warp Prism. AFK a little bit with that right now. I mean, he can't really go in because the one of the Archons is just so low on hit points. He needs to allow that to regenerate a little bit. 8 more probes killed, down to 33 probes to 47 drones. There you go. The Archon harassment comes back in though, and man, even the Warp Prism is low on health here. He has to be so cautious with everything about this right now. Comes back in, drops to the low ground, sees the Queens, backs away. Has to be so careful, but it's working. The harassment is starting to do its job. He's rebuilding workers, although very late on his third Nexus, of course. given the scenario. And DnS, Reynor obviously feels as though he's not going to be under a major attack anytime soon, because he's just quite freely droning at this point. However, a couple of DTs, lots of Archon potential here. He's going to have like 3 Archons, 2 DTs, lots of sentries. He'll move in towards his third base, or he's just going to go all in. He completes the wall off over here. He doesn't have a probe on the map. Oh, I think he just goes all in. Obviously, he's got so many gateways. Well, the thing is, Reynor saw these gateways when he was attacking with the Zerglings, so it's interesting that he has made so many more drones rather than just continuing to kind of make units here. You see an overload getting picked off. Every overload that goes down is painful, because obviously supply blocks will really hurt him right now. As we see another Balin drop coming in. Overcharges go down, and 4 workers killed. Not too bad in comparison to before. More Zerglings on the way up. Currently, it's just the number of Archons here. 4 Archons is going to be such a scare against Zergling Baneling. We saw the power of kind of lots of Archons in the earlier series, or in the earlier game on Frozen Temple. As here we go, the Warp Prism going to get ready to warp in. A couple of DTs warping in immediately here, morphing into an Archon now. Zealot's going to join up together. A few Hallucinations going to get ready to go as well, so they're going to move forwards, and let's see what happens. So many units coming into the front here from DnS. He goes into this with an army supply lead. However, I like this. The Baneling drop going to come in from overhead. That puts the force fields a little bit kind of useless here to some extent. However, the Archons are still alive. The Warp Prism will come in and warp a few extra units in. However, has to back away because he realizes now that those Queens can target the Warp Prism, and that would not be good. Sentries in the front going to go down too, as this army from DnS is starting to disappear. More Roaches and Lings on the way. Zealot's going to come in to try and tank. The Archon's still alive, and those are the power units now. 7 kills, 20 kills, 21 kills, 27 kills. These Archons have done so much here so far, and they're still doing more, as now we see DnS starting to go up this ramp. The Warp Prism still sat away to the side, will start to move forwards, as we're actually going to see units all over the place. Archons chasing down Overlords. Reynor hits a supply block, drones will die, and that's actually one way to go on supply blocks, although not the best way, of course, as we're going to see Archons. This Archon, 23 kills, 10 kills, 14, where are the big killers? 30 kills on this one over here, as we do see the Archons in the main base are still surviving as well, and DnS is just going to be very convincing in game number 3 in the end. I mean, not very convincing, actually. It was very kind of close. I mean, you think about the damage Reynor did, it was very close indeed. But this victory here for DnS will be a 3-0, and that means that DnS is going to go into the PvP winners bracket match, and that will be coming up after the ZvZ between Violet and Reynor to see who's going to be the first out of this group in terms of dropping out and not going through into the next round. GG is called, and DnS wins it with a 3-0.